What's your name and position?
My name is Gilbert Moore. I'm a county constable.
Where were you on the night on February 4th?
I was sent to Biddulph with Constable Pope and reached the ruins of the Donnelly homestead about 3 that afternoon.
Tell me what you saw.
I saw 4 bodies inside the ruins and 2 pools of blood 3 or 4 feet from the front door.
Could you identify the bodies?
Some of them. Tom Donnelly's body was lying inside of the door. It was burnt to a cinder. In the kitchen, 1 body lay near the door and the other 2 between the stove and the wall. The 1 body I thought was old Donnelly's because of the buttons I saw near it. The body near the 2 doors was Mrs. Donnelly's.
How do you know it was her body?
I saw marks around the remains of the head, which looked like ringlets of a woman's hair.
And the other bodies?
They were so burnt up I couldn't tell a man from a woman.
Was there any evidence of violence?
Well, the skulls of all the corpses looked like they had been cut from the bodies. One of the skulls I saw, that was Mrs. Donnelly's, looked as if it had been split open, but it was too hard to tell.
Did any other skulls show signs of violence?
Well, there was no complete skull in any of them. One, or just pieces. I tried to pick one up and it crumbled to bits.
Was there any evidence that they were beaten to death?
They could have been, or they could have been killed by the burning. It's too hard to tell.
Did you notice anything at the scene of the crime that could have been used as a weapon?
I saw the head of an axe near where the old man was lying. I also saw a pick and found a spade underneath one of the bodies.
Was this the spade?
Yes. I can tell by the red marks thereon.
Your Lordship, I would like to tender this exhibit as evidence.
Spade enters as exhibit number 1.
What did you do with the bodies?
Constables Pope and myself packed away the bodies into a coffin.
1 coffin for 4 bodies?
Yes, there wasn't much left of the Donnellys. We kept them separated by placing newspapers between them. We brought them into town that way.
Did you notice anyone near the scene of the fire?
Well, as we went by John Kane's farm, we saw the prisoner.
What was he doing?
He was coming back from the outhouse.
What did the prisoner do then?
He went in at the front door of Kane's place.
Was he behaving strangely?
Well, I did notice him stepping pretty lively.
What did you do then?
Pope and I went to Kane's place and told Carol the police chief was at Lucan and wanted to see him.
You took Carol back into town?
Yes, in the wagon.
The same wagon that contained the remains of the Donnellys?
Yes, they were in the back.
Did Carol say anything?
No.
Did you say anything to him?
Well, when we were going past what was left of the Donnellys, Pope turns to Carol and says, "There's the remains of old decency."
What does he mean by old decency?
That was James Donnelly's nickname. Carol was always quick to make jokes about it.
And what did the prisoner say?
Nothing.
Did he look at the house?
No.
Did he say anything about the incident?
No.
Did you say anything to him?
No. I didn't want him to know that we were going to arrest him when we got into town.
What did you do when you arrived in Lucan?
We presented Carol with an arrest warrant, charging him with murder.
Did the prisoner say anything?
When we put him in lockup, he said he wasn't guilty.
What did he say, where did he say he was during the occurrence?
He said he had slept at the Thompsons that night.
What do you know about the relationship between the prisoner and John Donnelly?
Donnelly had Carol arrested on a charge of threatening to shoot his mother.
How do you know that?
Well, I was one of the constables who went to John Mayer's to arrest him.
What did the prisoner say to the charge?
Carol said the charge was false.
Was James Maher there?
Yes.
What did he say about the charge?
Maher said that Donnelly would swear any decent man's life away.
Maher felt ill towards the Donnellys?
Well, he said that something would have to be done to have them stopped, and that a vigilance committee must be formed to get them out of the country.
Objection! What James Maher said about the Donnellys' so-called vigilance committee is not relevant to the witness testimony.
Objection allowed.
Is it true that the prisoner was the only full-time cop in Lucan?
Yes.
Do you speak to Carol on the day he was appointed special constable?
Yeah.
And what did you say to him?
I told him he could fix them now.
Fix who?
The Donnellys.
Why would you say that?
At the time, I thought Carol would be a good man for a constable. He was on the spot when he would be able to catch those making trouble around Lucan.
What did Carol say?
He said he would be the cause of the Donnellys being banished from Biddulph.
No further questions, Your Lordship.